Hello, guys. Welcome back to the channel and to this series, My Take, where I say everything that comes to my mind about a lot of different topics. So, as usual, I have my Mac here and I have my notebook here. So, I take notes, I write things that I want to share with you, and I hope this is also going to be interesting. We are continuing, starting from the previous video where that it's also in the description, where I spoke about the financial services industry and why this should digitize as soon as possible, not to lose customers to native digital banks. Today we have the same approach, but we talk about the food industry, the industry, to be honest, that I like the most because I really like to eat. I'm Italian, so that's not uncommon. And the food industry is not the tastiest one, the sweetest one, but it's also one of the largest ones. If, for example, we look into the first 5 companies, food production companies in the world, the total valuation of these companies passes $1 trillion. $1 trillion. So it's a huge industry. You have a lot of different companies, and some of them are huge. Top 5 is Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Coke, we call it Coke, Kraft Heinz, and Anheuser-Busch. So, to put it in perspective, market value of Nestle is around $230 billion, something like that. They have over 300,000 employees, and they own more than 2,000 brands. So when you go to a supermarket, you're maybe buying something from Nestle everywhere in the world, wherever you are, doesn't matter. And you don't know, you buy a local, maybe it's a local icon, and you don't know that it's owned by Nestle. But they have 2,000 brands in 191 countries, so basically they sell it everywhere. Same thing, of course, for PepsiCo. They have 260,000 employees, and Coke as well, Kraft Heinz. So these are companies that sell products that are purchased by billions of people, and they're so huge that they can basically change change our life, change the way we live and the way we consume. So they are so big, they can change our lives, but they're also so big to have the largest marketing budgets that you can ever imagine. Beyond that, probably. Nestle, as an example, in 2019 had $18 billion marketing budget. 18 billion, it's unthinkable, almost unthinkable. And they are mainly investing in advertising, in building, strengthening their brands, and being recognized as a trustworthy and a global leading organization. That's more or less the goal of every company in food, because trust and being recognized is essential to sell any type of food today, especially on the internet. So in 2019, we talked about the immense budget that they have, but in 2019, still a small part of the production was sold on the internet, was sold online. If we compare food companies to the food industry in general with other industries like consumer goods, consumer electronics, and music, and I can name many other industries, the proportion of things that is sold on the internet compared to what is sold offline, it is normally small. It's much smaller than other sectors. But what is shared in the internet is extremely important as a learning for these companies, and I will explain you more about that. So even if till last year online sales were a small part of the big pie, but the learnings that you could make on the internet were so much insightful that you could never get them offline. So what happened then? We all know, unfortunately, the coronavirus crisis pushed everyone back home, and all of a sudden, food companies, grocery stores, online grocery stores, from one day to another, they were completely packed. And from one day to another, the percentage of food sold on the internet grew to over 10% on the total. So when you're selling online for 10% of your total income, online is becoming extremely important, and is no more just like something we will look at it. You have to look at it now. And in fact, since they have never looked at it before, or not in the way they should, they were unprepared. Very long waiting times for ordering groceries, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Sometimes it was not even possible to do so. The food companies, they were not positioned to compete on the online shelves as they normally do offline. No? Whenever you go to the supermarket and you have products in a specific places on the shelf, is because that company paid a price to appear in that position in that shelf. And this is normal, of course, for consumer electronics, for other industries, but that type of competition was not that huge in online food selling. So it was a very big change, and in an industry where direct to consumer is basically non-existing. So if you look at consumer electronics companies, all of them have an online branded store. If you look at food companies, almost nobody has it, or maybe if they do, but almost nobody buys there. And the numbers are so small that are insignificant. And it's surprising because 88% of customers say that they would like to buy from the brand shop and not from a reseller, not from another e-tailer. So in an industry where you do not do direct to consumer, you did not pay enough attention to e-commerce, and all of a sudden that becomes so important, there is a lot of work to do towards, let's say, digitalization. But more importantly, more than selling, is understanding what online customers want and how they inform themselves and how they make their purchase decision, because that thing that we learn online can be also applied offline. So the informative power of online, it is what hasn't been taken in consideration at all. So sales started to ramp up, so they became more important. Learning from what happens on the internet, much less. And this is also very strange and needs to change immediately. It will change very soon, because 87% of customers base their purchase decisions on what they read in reviews on the internet, and not only for online purchase. So what they buy offline, nowadays the decision is made on the internet, and when they go to the store, they already have an idea on what to buy. And this is, of course, happening if we think about social, so influencing our sensation, our taste, our purchase decisions on social networks, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. YouTube, great way to influence someone's opinion. But the most important place where you have the more trustworthy information is online reviews. Is where the magic happens, is where customers buy and review something, because that's what other customers trust. So what does this mean? It means that in the end, if you're a food company and you want to expand your online and offline sales, and you want to leverage this increasing interest in food online, you need to read, you need to analyze online reviews. You need to become the biggest expert of what your customers say about your products and what customers say about competitor products. So if you look at the why, because that is the most important source of information from your customers. So it needs to be yours as well. And just as an experiment, I opened on my browser Amazon China and Tmall.com, which is also one of the one of the largest online shops in China. And what I realized is that there are tens of thousands of reviews about food. Specifically, I searched for pasta products just because pasta is an international word, and even if you don't speak Chinese, it's still called pasta. So there are tens of thousands of reviews out there about pasta products, how Chinese customers use that pasta, what they like, what they don't like, if they find it in the store, if they don't find it in the store, at what price. It's so insightful and so much information about these pasta brands that I'm not going to mention. I'm talking about the largest pasta brands. And I spoke with some of the management of these pasta brands, and they didn't even know that they had reviews out there. So this asymmetry between the abundance and the insightfulness of the information on e-commerce and the, let me pass this term, ignorance of brands on the other side, it is inconceivable. This really needs to change. And it needs to change. Why? Because brands invest so much. We've been talking about the $18 billion marketing budget of Nestle. And on the other side, they're missing out. They're not investing a penny in learning from these data sources, which are not the most important ones. To give you an idea, on Tmall.com, there are over 500 million monthly active users. So what does this mean? It means that if you do well, if you appear well there, it doesn't really matter if you sell on the platform, if the purchase is happening there. Customers read, inform themselves on the marketplace, and they go offline to purchase. So what happens there? It's free. You just need to learn. You need to leverage what's written in there, and you're gonna have a much bigger impact than what you maybe get with traditional media. And the first company that would do it in a serious way, that would massively invest in interpreting what customers want and leveraging on that on the online world, will gain so much so much leadership in the industry, and consequently market shares for online and offline. I hope you guys liked this video. That is, of course, my point of view. I'd like to hear yours, and let's take it from there. I wish you a very good day, and see you soon.